Now, convicted killer and former Paralympic star Oscar Pistorius has served half of his sentence and is eligible for release for parole. He was sentenced in 2014 for the murder of Reeva Steenkamp. The Department of Correctional Services has set up a meeting with her parents. We speak now with the Steenkamp lawyer, Tania Koen. A very good evening to you, Tania, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us. So please just tell us, the parents of Reeva Steenkamp, who believe that they are willing to meet with Oscar Pistorius as part of the process, what exactly does that mean?
Hello, you're welcome. Okay, so the parents have been contacted by the Department of Correctional Services to meet with them, and the purpose of the meeting was to confirm with them whether they would be prepared to participate in a victim-offender dialogue under the guidance of the Department of Correctional Services. Unfortunately, it then came to our attention that the parole board had already decided to convene either on the 27th or the 29th of October, and that process, of course, is not a proper process which the department intended on following, as they are required mandatory statutory procedures which they have to comply with in terms of the Correctional Services Act, which is to give proper notice to the victims or the family of the victims. Having said that, the department has since advised that the parole board would not be convening, and my clients have confirmed that they would like to participate in the victim-offender dialogue. Now, that process is a process where the victim or the survivor of the victim's family meets with the offender on a face-to-face basis. So at this point in time, we are waiting for the department to get back to us so that that meeting can be arranged.
Now, I believe that they feel rather emotional about this, and while you're also talking about the court process, is it true that they were shocked to find out that he was due for parole now, given the expectation that some believed it would have been 2023?
Correct, yes, they were very shocked and quite taken aback. As you can imagine, it's a very sensitive issue, and the wound, even though so much time has passed, is still very raw. So they were shocked because, by all accounts, we all thought, myself included, that he would only be eligible in March 2023. We failed to take into account that the Supreme Court of Appeal had antedated his sentence. So besides the fact that they were shocked and surprised that he's eligible now, was also the added, let's call it insult to injury, when the department arranged to meet with them and then cancelled it basically the day before, because they had emotionally prepared themselves for the meeting with the department and obviously discuss, what would follow.
I mean, you can't necessarily speak on their behalf in terms of their feelings now, but I'm sure they've shared with you over time how it has been trying to get over the death. It was such a dramatic one that really occupied global media space, and now they have to meet with Mr. Pistorius, whom I believe says he's very willing to meet them. Do they have any idea about what they'd like out of the process, what the conversation should go like?
Yes, obviously they have discussed that with me, but at this point in time, I have been requested to keep it confidential and not to say much. Every day is a difficult day for them, and obviously they need to get over the shock and the hurt. And, when we get to that stage, that we will speak about that. Okay.
So, and I'll respect that, but I just want to know, and if it's possible for you to answer this question, when they say they would like the process done properly, with parole, there are questions over remorse and forgiveness. Are they at a point where they feel that they can achieve that or have achieved that forgiveness?
Okay, so what they've always said is that the law must take its course. So their feelings is that although Oscar Pistorius is eligible for parole, it's obviously not a right. He's not entitled to parole. And they stand by the view that proper legal procedures must be followed, which is proper notification as required by the Act. So in that respect, they accept that it's going to happen. It's part of the law. As far as forgiveness is concerned, you will recall, or the listeners will recall, that June has always said that she has forgiven Oscar. However, that doesn't mean that he mustn't pay for what he has done. So forgiveness is not an issue for June. Barry battles with that a bit, but that is something that he will have to voice at the appropriate time.
Okay, because as you say, they have said, irrespective of that, it won't get their daughter back. 10 years later, how they're carrying on with their life, and how much of this is going to take its toll on them, because I believe that there are logistical problems according to the Department of Correctional Services, because they are in two different provinces, so that too may be something that has to be negotiated.
Correct, yes. And of course, Barry's health does not allow him to travel. He was only in the court twice because of his ill health, and his health has deteriorated even further. My view is that Barry definitely would like to meet with Oscar. He has said that over a long period of time, and we hope that the department will find a way to make it happen. I think it's important for closure for all parties concerned. It will not bring their daughter back, and they still, on a daily basis, they suffer with her loss. And hopefully it would give a form of closure for them to meet face to face.
Tania, you'll let me know if you're also able and willing to answer this question. Just your general views on the victim offender program, how it works for our correction system. Is it something that ought to be encouraged? Is it something that is successful?
I'm an attorney, so I think that question would be could rather be answered by a psychologist. But personally, walking this road with the family, I do think that it is important. Obviously, if the family of the victims want that, but it is important. Barry does have questions to ask. So, on the legal front, yes, the department must inquire from victims and their families whether they want to participate in a victim offender dialogue process, and the family then gets the opportunity to say yes or no. If they say no, that's the end of the matter, and the parole board will convene and take that into account. However, if the victim or the family of the victim wants to participate, then the department should make it happen.
All right, thank you so much for speaking to us. Tania Koen is the attorney representing the Steenkamp family, speaking to us about that impending release on parole of Oscar Pistorius. He is eligible for parole, saying that the family was obviously shocked to learn that it was so early, including her expectations were that it was going to be 2023, but they are willing to meet with Oscar Pistorius as part of the process.